Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. It's been a while, guys, but I'm finally back with a solo episode. There will be some guest episodes coming up, but thank you for being here, and let's get into this. So, today's episode is going to be about why most people fail and how to make sure you don't. So I'm not gonna, fill this thing with a bunch of fluff. Let's get straight into it. I have 5 points on why I believe most people fail in what they're doing. So let's get into it. So the first thing is a lack of clear goals and direction, right? Many people will start something and they'll say to themselves, okay, I want to, get really good at it. It's a very vague goal. There isn't much structure to that. There isn't much detail to what kind of goal that even is like, what does it mean to become good at something? Because good for you and what you think you could become good at and your standard is completely different from someone else. So you kind of need to figure out what that thing is to begin with, right? So, for example, the podcast, I want to post 200 episodes by the end of the year. That is a clear goal. And the reason why it's a clear goal, because I know I have to post 16 podcasts per month, right? And then I break it down even further than that. I want half of the episodes to be guest episodes and the other half to be solo. Now, all of a sudden, this big goal of, let's say, me saying I want to have a huge self improvement podcast is now broken down in a way that I can control. I can control how many episodes I put out because I'm the one putting the work in, right? How big it gets, how many followers it gets, how many listeners it gets, that is completely out of my control. So you need to set clear goals on what you want to achieve with what you're doing at this current moment, right? That is why in school they teach you about SMART goals because it's doesn't make sense to say I want to put on muscle. What does that mean? I want to put on 5 pounds of muscle in the next 3 months. There is more of a clear goal that is attainable and that makes sense, and you could see the vision, right? You have a direction to go towards. The next thing is fear of failure and rejection. A lot of the times when you start something new, the people around you will kind of be surprised because they won't expect that out of you. For example, me starting to post on social media. Obviously, many people in your personal life don't do that. So when you start doing it, they kind of, make jokes or they will just bring it up all the time and it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable because maybe you are not too proud of the type of content you were posting in the beginning because one, it's not good quality, and two, let's be honest, you kind of don't know what you're doing. You're kind of just like going with the flow, right? So that will be something that kind of holds you back and why you will end up failing because you'll let those outside opinions get to you. And once they get to you and you let it spiral, it almost feels like you are on the brink of quitting. Like you're most likely going to quit at that point if you're unable to settle your mind, right? So I think that's another point on why people fail. And it's not even that, it's starting it, seeing how difficult whatever it is you're trying to pursue is, and then fearing the failure of it. Because many people don't want to do something for 3 years and see no results, right? And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of something that's going to happen 3 years from now when they're unaware of the progress that they can make if they just start and be consistent, right? Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast. So those two things paired together are one and the same, and I believe that if you're able to overcome that fear of failing and that fear of rejection, you'll be already ahead of your competition in whatever it is you're pursuing. The next thing is inconsistent effort and discipline, right? Discipline is a skill. I've talked about this many times. You need to do hard things all the time when you don't feel like it. And that's exactly where discipline is built. So I'm not going to go too much into detail about discipline because I speak about it very frequently. But Another point is inconsistent effort. This is huge. Think about this analogy. Who is better off and who is going to make more progress in the gym? The guy that goes to the gym 6 hours in one day every 2.5 weeks, or the guy that goes to the gym every single day for 30 minutes, right? It's always going to be the guy that goes to the gym for 30 minutes because that's just the way it works. And that's the thing people actually don't realize is that in order to get ahead, in order to, start making consistent progress over time, all it is just consistent effort. No one's saying that you have to study for 6 hours today. But if you study, a little bit every single day, that's when you actually start to retain information and you actually start to get better at what you're studying, right? It's like the podcast. I could film one 15-minute podcast every single day, or I could tell myself I'm going to do 5 hours of filming on one day on its own. And most of the time, I'm not going to follow through with that promise, or I'm going to sell myself short and not do the whole 5 hours. So stop looking at it as extreme intensity when it comes to starting something new. Just focus on how consistent can I be with this, I'm going to start talking about this more because it's something I'm doing and I enjoy, and I might make a series out of it on my Instagram, but it's copywriting, right? I enjoy copywriting. I enjoy making persuasive emails for businesses, influencers, brands, and I'm trying to scale that, right? And it's the same thing as that. A quota of mine is 25 outreaches a day, right? If that's coming from Instagram, email, LinkedIn, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that if I am consistent with my outreach every single day, I will reach 700 outreaches by the end of the month. Now, if I tell myself I'm going to do 700 outreaches today, it's pretty ridiculous, right? It's just spamming the volume. But if I'm able to just keep that quota of 25 a day every single day and I stay consistent with that alone, I know I will see progress in landing clients, right? And that's what's so important is just consistency over time. How long can you stay consistent for? The next thing is surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And this kind of ties back into, I think it was point two, right? But even just the people around you, like, are they supportive of your new ventures? Are they supportive of your dreams and your aspirations? If they are not, that is a big reason why you will fail because you'll constantly be hearing those opinions in your mind. And as much as you want to say it doesn't affect you, it does on a subconscious level, even if you're not aware of it, right? So you need to realize that if you want to pursue something great, you want to pursue something that maybe is out of the norm from everyone else around you, you need to start surrounding yourself with the right people. Because if you don't, that is what will be the deciding factor of what's holding you back and what will lead to your failure. Because we are social creatures. We want to be accepted. We want to feel like we're in the right place when it comes to being around others, right? So if you feel that that's not happening right now because the people that you speak to on a daily basis aren't the type of people that share your same mindset, that is exactly when you may need to rethink who you're spending your time with. And then the next, and one of the biggest things, and I think, in my opinion, it's very analytical, is not adapting and learning from your mistakes, right? Because plenty of people do great work on a consistent basis, but if you're not learning from your mistakes and you're not breaking down why maybe something is not working, then that is why your failure is happening, right? For example, tie it back into copywriting. When I was doing my outreach before, my outreach was very generic. It actually didn't showcase any copywriting skill within the outreach that I was sending out. And that made me realize, okay, I've been doing this for a while now. What do I need to do? I need to change up my outreach. I need to change up who I message and what I'm actually messaging. And then only then did I actually start to see results with my response rate, right? And that's what's important, guys, is that you need to realize that you're going to make mistakes along your journey to pursuing something. The best thing you could do is learn from those mistakes and adapt to those situations because that is only when you'll actually start to make true progress. So, if you want to learn from your mistakes, you need to take an analytical approach. You start something new, you do it for a little bit, and if you aren't producing results, then go back to the drawing board and learn from what you were doing wrong. Only then can you start to see results. I tried so many ventures over the past year and a half, and none of them worked until today, until one of the businesses that I'm pursuing is actually starting to do well. And it was because I learned that maybe I can't do this stuff on my own. Maybe I just don't have the knowledge needed right now in order to start making progress in business. And that is exactly when I sought out to find a mentor. And then that was the biggest difference. If I didn't learn from the mistakes I was making over the past year and a half, I would never be in the position I am today. So learn from your mistakes, my friend. Those are the 5 points that I wanted to go over on how you can avoid failure and why you even fail in the first place. So thank you guys for tuning in and making it this far. If you like this episode, remember to follow us on Spotify. Also, let me know any future topics you would like me to speak about in the future, and I'll definitely consider them. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Rush a cold to a diamond, eyes forever shining. Your beauty alone inspire a nigga to rhyming.